He's also charged with conspiring to overturn the election. He's also charged with stealing classified information. And a jury has already found him liable for rape in a civil court. And yet, in this Republican-controlled House, it's okay to talk about the trial, but you have to call it a sham.
You take down his words.
It's okay to say the jury is rigged.
Mr. Speaker, I demand that his words be taken down.
It's okay to say the court is corrupt.
Gentleman will suspend.
But not Trump is corrupting the rule of law.
After a Democratic congressman listed a series of objective facts about Donald Trump's legal troubles on the floor of the House of Representatives, MAGA Republican Snowflakes were so triggered that they threw a tantrum, leading to the presiding officer formally reprimanding the Democrat in question and striking his words from the record. So much for free speech. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bell before you go. All right, friends, we have several clips to look at in this video, and the general thesis is what we've been talking about in previous videos in terms of MAGA Republicans and their relationship with free speech and civility politics. They want license to say whatever they want, whenever they want, about whomever they want, but they can't handle a fraction of it in return. So I'm going to play some of these clips involving Democratic Congressman Jim McGovern, and we'll go from there.
We have a presumptive nominee for president facing 88 felony counts, and we're being prevented from even acknowledging it. These are not alternative facts. These are real facts. A candidate for President of the United States is on trial for sending a hush money payment to a porn star to avoid a sex scandal during his 2016 campaign, and then fraudulently disguising those payments in violation of the law. He's also charged with conspiring to overturn the election. He's also charged with stealing classified information. And a jury has already found him liable for rape in a civil court. And yet, in this Republican-controlled House, it's okay to talk about the trial, but you have to call it a sham.
You take down his words.
It's okay to say the jury is rigged.
Mr. Speaker, I demand that his words be taken down.
It's okay to say the court is corrupt.
Gentleman will suspend.
But not Trump is corrupting the rule of law.
So you see what's going on now? The MAGA Republicans, including the presiding officer, who himself is a Republican, of course, they're so triggered at these objective facts that Jim McGovern was talking about. It is true that Donald Trump is facing these legal challenges. It is true that he has been found liable for sexual abuse and defamation of E. Jean Carroll. And the presiding judge in that case did say, and we've talked about it in previous videos, that in layman's terms, what Donald Trump did to E. Jean Carroll was rape. It just didn't meet the criminal bar, the criminal threshold for rape, because he digitally penetrated her as opposed to with his penis. Okay, but all of these things are true and they can't handle it. And again, McGovern points out the stunning hypocrisy that Republicans are given license to, cast aspersions or characterize, the legal proceedings against Trump in their favor. They're allowed to call the trials shams and, the courts presiding over the trials corrupt, as well as the judges. They're free to say and do whatever they want, but they can't handle even a list of objective facts, which just goes to show you how weak and pathetic the GOP is. More clips from this as well, which further accentuate the GOP's hypocrisy.
From Massachusetts is recognized.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, a few moments ago, I was admonished for stating the simple fact that the former president was indicted by a grand jury and is on trial in a court of law. That's not my opinion. It's just the truth. So I have a parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman will state his inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, has the chair determined it's unparliamentary to state a fact?
The chair is not in a position to determine the veracity of remarks made on the floor.
Well,
that members must avoid personalities.
yeah, well, that's unbelievable. Last week during debate, a Republican member of this House said, and I quote, "Watch the former President of the United States being hauled into court day after day with a sham trial," end quote. He wasn't admonished. I just referenced the same trial, and I was.
Right, because again, Republicans are objectively unprincipled, hypocritical losers. They have no principles with respect to free speech or civility politics, or even when it comes to what they call making personalities, which is what Marjorie Taylor Greene did to Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett in that clown show of a House Oversight Committee hearing last week, where she insulted the character and the physical appearance of a congressperson, right? You're not supposed to do that. But again, when it comes to people outside the court, outside Congress, like Donald Trump or even President Biden, the current sitting president, Republicans have said all sorts of objectionable things about President Biden, the Democrats, the American judicial system, the American legal system, and everything else without being admonished or having their words stricken from the record. Some more clips.
The gentleman will state his inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it correct that members of Congress can mention the trial of the presumptive nominee for president, call it a sham, and question the integrity of the judge, but a reference to the mere existence of that same trial without any characterization that's out of order?
The chair will not issue an advisory opinion.
Again, that is a MAGA Republican congressman saying, listen, I'm not going to answer the question. I'm not going to give you advice on what can be said and what can't be said. We're just going to rule as these things come up. And yeah, Republicans are free to say whatever they want, and Democrats are not. Play another clip here.
Clerk will report the words.
We have a presumptive nominee for president facing 88 felony counts, and we are being prevented from even acknowledging it. These are not alternative facts. These are real facts. A candidate for President of the United States is on trial for sending a hush money payment to a porn star to avoid a sex scandal during his 2016 campaign, and then fraudulently disguising those payments in violation of the law. He is also charged with conspiring to overturn the election. He is also charged with stealing classified information, and a jury has already found him liable for rape in a civil court. And yet in this Republican-controlled House, it is okay to talk about the trial, but you have to call it a sham. It is okay to say the jury is rigged, but not that Trump should be held accountable. It is okay to say the court is corrupt, but not Trump is corrupting the rule of law.
I just love the fact that they had to make her read the very words that they're about to strike down again, just again reaffirming the fact that everything that was said was absolutely true. They did indeed end up striking the words from the record and formally admonished Democratic Congressman Jim McGovern. As Jake Sherman of Punchbowl News points out, so next time a Republican talks about the sham trial or rigged charges, Dems can move to take their words down and round we go. Sure. But I have no confidence that that's actually what's going to happen. As a matter of fact, in the clown show that was the House Oversight Committee hearing last week, they moved to strike Marjorie Taylor Greene's personalities against Jasmine Crockett from the record. But even though it passed and the words were taken from the record, Marjorie Taylor Greene was allowed to stay in the committee in the hearing and ask her questions, even though formal procedure dictates she should no longer be allowed to speak for the remainder of the hearing. You broke the rules in a particularly bad way. If your words are stricken from the record, you can't talk for the rest of the hearing. But they allowed her, they bent the rules to allow her to stay because, as Jasmine Crockett pointed out, Comer, the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, needed the vote, so he couldn't afford to kick Marjorie Taylor Greene out of the hearing. So my point is, folks, Republicans play fast and loose with the rules all the time. Even go back and watch the clips I just showed you. The presiding Republican officer over the thing, he's smiling the whole time because he knows what he's doing. He just knows that he has McGovern at a disadvantage because he has the power. So if you have power, you don't have to be consistent. And this is another reason why I demand, I push for Democrats to wield power aggressively when they have it. I see no reason why, if Democrats take control of the House after the election, why we shouldn't play by the same rules. I don't see a good reason why we shouldn't say whatever we want, whenever we want, about any Republican, including Donald Trump, and prevent Republicans from responding in kind against Democrats. We have to show them. If you want to be hypocrites, if you want to play by double standards, even though Democrats don't want to do that, we can do that, and you won't like it, and perhaps that would be the way to convince you, Republicans, to start playing the game by a fair, equitable set of rules. As long as Democrats continue to indulge this asymmetry, Republicans have no incentive to stop it. So, yeah, McGovern triggered these MAGA Republicans so much with mere facts that their feelings couldn't handle. Funny stuff. Let me know what you think in the comments.